He says that you've lost your mind because he thinks he's everything you've got, but that's so wrong. You're better than that. And I watch, hoping someday, baby, that you'll see how much more you could do without him, without me. I know it's hard, girl, to forget the one you thought was there for you. Was never there for you. Trust me, I've been there one too many times. I didn't know what to do, but I've learned how to deal. Come on, baby, just listen to what I've got to say.
I made pot roast, your favorite. You know, I could call up that Kim Jong-il wannabe and complain if you want. I mean, by the time you get home, you barely even have time to eat and do your homework, let alone have any fun. You're only young once. You should be having a little fun.
Well, from my point of view, I would want to make sure that they were seeing their doctor on a regular basis and were taking care of themselves. And then on a daily basis, you know, they would need to eat breakfast, have lunch, they need to eat regularly. They would, sometimes morning sickness might, be a factor. And, you know, would they be able to get to school for, the 7:40 start if they were unable to eat breakfast? They need to make sure they have regular rest periods because it's a big drain on your body to be pregnant. And then there's always, the social factors. People, feel alienated because, they are pregnant. Obviously they've been having sex, unprotected sex, and resulting in pregnancy, and how that, impedes on their social life. And additionally, we would also get our guidance counselor involved, the social worker, or the school psychologist to help with those emotional issues that may arise. And then, like I said, nutrition is a big factor, and you would really have to learn to how to pace yourself, because I think high school is very strenuous, and so they, when you're pregnant, then that's an additional strain on your body. So they would have to make sure they're getting, regular rest, and of course seeing their obstetrician on a regular basis. But those would be some of the things that we would do.
One of my really good friends got pregnant at like 15, and when she told people that she was pregnant, nobody would talk to her, and she lost all her friends except for two people, including me, and it just was a horrible experience. And people just they don't think of her the same way, but She and I are still like best friends because the experience made us closer. Well, personally, I think that teen pregnancy is obviously something that can be easily avoided. I'm not saying all high schoolers shouldn't have sex, but I think personally that they should at least think about waiting, and if they do have sex in high school, to make sure that they really do think it all through and really and really do think about the consequences of a possible pregnancy or anything.
I think it's unrealistic for kids in high school to not have sex because that just doesn't happen. So I just think they should be responsible and be safe and stuff because that's really the only thing you can do.
I think that people in high school should have the option if they want to have sex or not because it's their body and they can do what they want with it.
That would suck because you'd have this thing on you that you can't take off, like a fat suit you can't take off. And you'd be walking around and everyone would be staring at you. Unless you got an abortion, but I heard that those aren't pleasant. And yeah, I don't need any more bump.
One of my friends were to be pregnant, I would probably be supportive of them and try to help them through because they'd been in a hard enough situation with being pregnant that I'd want to embrace them and give them whatever they needed.
I think people have the right to get an abortion. If I got pregnant, I don't really think I would have an abortion. Maybe, I don't know. But I think it's a woman's right to decide what she has to do with her body.
I feel that many teens aren't ready to have their children grow up because they don't have the financial means to have a child and they're not in a sufficient relationship, so an abortion may be the best option for them.
How has pregnancy affected your school life?
I stopped going to school and found a program that would work around the baby's schedule when he gets here.
How has it affected your relationships with friends? It has only affected one of my friendships. That's how you know who your true friends are. When they hear you're having a baby, they either stick around or leave.
Did you consider alternatives to having a baby like abortion?
No. I would never abort a child, whether it was before the child became a baby with feelings. Everyone has feelings, including a child in the first trimester.
How has the pregnancy affected your relationship with the father? Are you still together?
No, we are not together, but we are considering on getting back together and working on our relationship.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, what is the biggest surprise? Forget about all the media, the news about this, the drama, of being a parent. What was the biggest thing?
It's a 24-hour job, and it's a huge responsibility.
Life is different than you thought it was going to be.
Yeah, your priorities completely change once you have a baby.
And you came into it in a difficult way because you're on the national stage. Your mother, a very important political figure at that time. Let me ask you, when you had to confront the decision that you knew you were pregnant, and you had to tell your mom and dad, what was that like?
Harder than labor. It was one of the hardest things you'll ever have to go through. And I hope that me speaking out now will prevent girls from having to do that in the future.
Were you more worried that I'm pregnant or I have to tell my parents?
A little bit of both. I knew that it would be a huge shock and a huge surprise for my parents.
What did they say when you told them?
They were disappointed and surprised, and they've been so supportive and just have been there for me since day one.
Were you more worried about your dad or your mom?
Both.
For different reasons?
Yeah.
What were you worried about with your dad?
Just the disappointment.
And your mom?
The same, and just they were so surprised and so shocked that I was.
Well, now you've had the baby, he's healthy, you've made this decision to go forward. But let me ask you, back then, because of the concern and the worry about being pregnant, did you consider, should I keep this baby? Should I not? Should I tell them? Should I run? What did you think?
I knew from the second I found out that I was pregnant that I was going to keep the baby, and I think that's the best choice, and that's what I was going to do. It was the right choice.
With the pressure on your mom being that growing political figure, were you worried that you would spoil for her, that this would somehow be damaging to her?
I never really thought about that, honestly.
Now, because you're doing the teen ambassador thing, you're getting out there the message, so this becomes a relevant issue in your own life. You got pregnant, why? Because you didn't choose to use protection? Was it a conscious choice? Did you want to have the baby? How did you get into the situation?
Regardless of what I did personally, I just think that abstinence is the only way that you can effectively 100% foolproof way to prevent pregnancy.
It is, but it's a difficult choice, right?
It
I mean,
is.
for you, it proved to not be the way.
Yeah.
So how do you bridge the two for kids? You say, don't do it, don't have the sex, but you did. So how do you put those two together?
I'm not quite sure. I just want to go out there and just promote abstinence and just say this is the safest choice. This is the choice that's going to prevent teen pregnancy and prevent a lot of heartache.
So now your life is different. You're a mom. You're still just 19. But what is a day in the life for you now?
Well, I wake up from the few hours of sleep that I get, and then it's off to school and bottles and diapers and just taking care of my son.
So you take care of the son, you have help, you're still at home with your parents,
Yeah.
obviously. You still have chores?
Yeah.
You still have to do things around the house?
Yeah, of course.
How does it work? What do they have you doing there?
Dishes, constantly laundry, and just cooking and cleaning.
Boy, oh boy. And now, when you look back on this, of course, you see the child as a blessing. Every parent does. But how do you look at your life and make the decision about, well, I wish this hadn't happened? Where are you on that? What do you regret in this?
Well, my son is a blessing. He's the best thing that's ever happened to me, and he's the love of my life. But I really do wish that years from now I could have had the same son.
Because it's hard for you, right? Because you want to say, I wish I hadn't done this, but then
Yeah.
you wouldn't have Trip.
Yeah, exactly.
You just wish it had been later.
Yeah, of course.
But if you had to go back and do it again, would you do it the same way?
I would have waited to have sex, obviously.
And now as you go forward, the decision becomes, well, who's going to be in his life, who wasn't? You're such a young person that being in a lasting relationship is a giant decision to make. What do you decide about how you let the father, Levi Johnston, be in this child's life? What are you going to do about that?
Well, I'd love Levi to be a part of his life, and I know that he will be.
So you're good on that. No matter how you feel about the father, about Levi, you do want him in the child's life.
Yeah,
Why?
of course. Every child needs a father.
And you have that maturity where you get along with him because it's better for
Yeah.
the kid. And now,
I remember black skies, the lightning all around me. I remembered each flash as time began to burn, like a startling sign that fate had finally found.